What if the JFK assassination wasn't just the act of a lone gunman, but a well-orchestrated plot by the very government he led? This question has intrigued and haunted historians, conspiracy theorists, and the public alike for over 6 decades. Let's take a step back to that fateful day in November 1963. The official narrative tells us of a single man, Lee Harvey Oswald, who, acting alone, assassinated President John F. Kennedy in Dallas, Texas. But is it as straightforward as it seems? The Warren Commission, established to investigate the assassination, concluded that Oswald was the sole perpetrator. However, despite these seemingly conclusive findings, doubts and questions continue to linger. Many believe that this narrative is too neat, too tidy, and fails to address the numerous inconsistencies and peculiarities surrounding the event. For instance, there's the infamous magic bullet theory, which suggests that one bullet caused 7 wounds on 2 people, a claim that many find hard to believe. Then there's the question of Oswald's alleged communist ties and his mysterious trip to Mexico City just weeks before the assassination, where he supposedly met with Soviet and Cuban officials. Beyond these individual anomalies, there's a broader sense of unease, a nagging feeling that the dots just don't connect, that the puzzle pieces don't fit together. Many feel that Oswald, a former Marine with a patchy employment record, simply didn't have the means or the motive to pull off such a high-profile assassination on his own. This lingering doubt has led many to look beyond the official narrative, to probe deeper, to question whether there might be more to this story than meets the eye. And as they delve into this unresolved mystery, they find themselves drawn into a world of intrigue, secrecy, and deception, a world where nothing is as it seems, and where the most powerful government on Earth might just be the prime suspect. As we delve deeper into the shadows, we find ourselves entangled in an intricate web of secrecy and deception. If Lee Harvey Oswald didn't act alone, who might have helped him? Perhaps the answer lies within the clandestine corridors of the Central Intelligence Agency. As we delve deeper into the labyrinth of theories surrounding JFK's assassination, one name that frequently surfaces is the Central Intelligence Agency, or the CIA. Now, why would a premier intelligence agency be implicated in such a heinous act against its own leader? The answer, many theorists suggest, lies in Kennedy's stance on 2 critical issues of his time: communism and Cuba. Let's start with communism. Kennedy's presidency was marked by the Cold War, a time of heightened tension between the capitalist West and the communist East. The CIA, tasked with safeguarding American interests, was heavily invested in curbing the spread of communism. But what if Kennedy's approach to communism didn't align with the agency's hardline stance? Could this divergence have led to a fatal conflict? Then there's Cuba, the island nation just a stone's throw away from American shores, was a communist stronghold under Fidel Castro. The CIA had been involved in numerous plots to overthrow Castro, most notably the failed Bay of Pigs invasion. Kennedy's handling of this event and his subsequent reluctance for direct military intervention in Cuba was a source of frustration for the agency. Could this have been a motive for the CIA to orchestrate an assassination? And let's not forget the classified documents related to JFK's assassination. Despite the release of over 90% of the collection since 1992, key files continue to be withheld, allegedly for reasons of national security. The most recent delay, announced in 2021, pushes the release date to December 2022. This constant deferral has only fueled speculation about what these documents might reveal about the CIA's role in the assassination. Could it be that the very agency tasked with protecting the nation was involved in the assassination of its leader? The question lingers, echoing through the annals of history, seeking an answer that may lie hidden in the shadows of secrecy and intrigue. But how does a former Marine and self-proclaimed Marxist connect with the CIA? The answer might be more complicated than you think. Let's start with Lee Harvey Oswald, the man accused of assassinating President Kennedy. Before his notorious act, Oswald served in the United States Marine Corps and later defected to the Soviet Union, a move that would pique anyone's curiosity. Now, you might be wondering, how does a former US Marine end up in the heart of the communist world? According to some theories, Oswald was not just a disillusioned serviceman, but a pawn in a much larger game. Some speculate that he was actually working undercover for the CIA, sent to the Soviet Union to gather intelligence. The fact that he was allowed to return to the US after living in the Soviet Union for nearly 3 years, a time when Cold War tensions were at their peak, only adds fuel to this theory. But the intrigue doesn't stop there. Upon his return, Oswald reportedly had contacts within the CIA. One of the most intriguing figures in this narrative is George de Mohrenschildt, a petroleum geologist and professor who had connections with both the upper echelons of American society and the intelligence community. He befriended Oswald in the months leading up to the assassination, and some believe he was actually Oswald's CIA handler. Now, it's important to remember that these are theories. Concrete evidence linking Oswald directly to the CIA remains elusive. But the circumstantial evidence, the coincidences, the unexplained connections, they all suggest that there might be more to this story than what meets the eye. The links between Oswald and the CIA add another layer of complexity to this already convoluted narrative. In the early 1960s, the Cold War was at its peak and Cuba was a hotbed of tension. Could Kennedy's policies towards this tiny island nation have marked him for death? The world was a complex chessboard, with nations and ideologies in fierce competition. On one side, the United States, a beacon of capitalism and democracy. On the other side, the Soviet Union, a formidable giant of communism. And caught in the middle, Cuba, a tiny island nation just 90 miles off the coast of Florida. President John F. Kennedy was navigating through this high-stakes geopolitical landscape. His stance on Cuba was clear. He was staunchly against Fidel Castro's communist regime, and his administration made numerous attempts to oust Castro from power. The most infamous of these attempts was the Bay of Pigs invasion, a failed CIA operation that was intended to spark a rebellion against Castro. Kennedy's decision to withhold air support for the invasion was seen as a betrayal by many within the CIA, sparking speculation of a growing rift between the president and the intelligence agency. And then came the Cuban Missile Crisis, a 13-day standoff that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. Kennedy's handling of this crisis was lauded by many as he managed to negotiate a peaceful resolution. However, some within the CIA and the military were reportedly unhappy with the outcome, believing that Kennedy had missed an opportunity to remove Castro and neutralize the communist threat in the Western Hemisphere. Now, imagine you're in the CIA, dissatisfied with Kennedy's approach to Cuba and communism. You perceive his policies as weak, even damaging to national security. Wouldn't you start to wonder if the nation would be better off without him? This scenario is purely hypothetical, of course, but it's easy to see how these circumstances, real or imagined, could breed resentment, mistrust, and potentially a motive for murder. The tension around Cuba provides a potential motive for the CIA to plot against Kennedy, adding fuel to the fire of conspiracy theories. Despite numerous investigations and countless hours of research, the JFK assassination remains shrouded in mystery, with more questions than answers. We've taken you on a journey through the labyrinth of theories and conjectures surrounding the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. We've examined the possibility of the CIA's involvement, the clandestine operations, and the political motivations that might have spurred such a shocking act. We've delved into the intricate web of connections between Kennedy, the CIA, and the chilling specter of Cold War politics. We've explored the president's stance on communism, his policies towards Cuba, and the tensions they may have sparked within the corridors of power. Yet, despite our best efforts to uncover the truth, we are still left in the cold, grappling with a myriad of unanswered questions. Why were there so many discrepancies in the official accounts? Why have crucial documents related to the case remained classified for over half a century? And why, despite the release of thousands of records, does the truth seem as elusive as ever? The lack of concrete evidence and the persistent doubts surrounding the official narrative only serve to fuel the flames of speculation. Each new revelation seems to lead us further into the maze rather than guiding us out of it. The question of the CIA's alleged involvement in the assassination continues to be a source of heated debate. Some argue that the evidence points towards a conspiracy, while others believe it to be the work of a lone gunman. The truth, it seems, is as elusive as the shadowy figures that populate the world of espionage and covert operations. As we continue to question and probe, we're left wondering, Will the truth about JFK's assassination ever be revealed? Or will it remain one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries?